Good evening, curling fans from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We are entering the final round robin session here at Canada Olympic Park. It was originally built for the 1988 Olympic Winter Games, and it's where we are for the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021. The Winsport Arena is where teams have played a grueling 13-game round robin, wrapping up tonight as we play the session that was intended to be played last Sunday. Now it is session 7, comes Friday night, and our feature game, Sweden taking on Japan. And in our feature game, we know Sweden, where they'll be into the playoffs, Japan on the outside looking in. So get a chance. Let's meet the teams here in our feature matchup. All the teams getting a chance to one last time out on the ice. The fist bumps between the team, getting things all set to begin against Team Sweden, who knows they're into the playoffs starting tomorrow. The bow, and let's meet the teams for Sweden. A little different. Their alternates in at second, Johanna Heldin. Their lead is Sofia Mabergs. Joanna at second, Sarah McManus playing third, and then skip Anna Hasselborg. And they'll take on Japan with their lead, Yumie Funayama. Their second, Anna Omiya. Their third is Kaho Onadera. And their skip, Sayaka Yoshimura. Here are the standings, and obviously the 6 teams qualified for the playoffs, but because we haven't finished yet, they go alphabetical with the teams tied at 7 and 6. Canada and US qualify without playing earlier today, so they're the final 2 teams in, along with Denmark, and then Sweden. RCF and Switzerland are at the top. They're into the semi-finals as the top 2 seeds. Here are the games here in session 7 tonight. It is Czech Republic taking on Denmark on sheet A. Sheet B, it is Scotland taking on China. Opposite records on sheet C, Switzerland 11-1 taking on 1-11 Estonia. And then sheet D is our feature game, Sweden taking on Japan. So a full slate of games for you this evening. I'm Luke Coley, joined with Olympian and Canadian champion Melissa Saligo. Different sides for this game. Sweden obviously doesn't have anything to play for position-wise, but they want to keep on strong form into the playoffs.
That's exactly right, Luke, and that's, you know, as you said, this is session 7, so this was to be played last week. We're making it up tonight, so these 2 teams obviously haven't met before, but as we go into the playoffs tomorrow, you want Sweden to have some sort of momentum going into the morning.
Perfect.
And Sweden, obviously, with that to be said, they have pulled Agnes Knockenhauer out of the lineup, so she's sitting at the far end there behind the boards. Just gets a chance to rest. It's been a grueling, like I said, grueling 13-game round robin, finishing off tonight. And Japan, they want to finish on a positive note. They picked up a win earlier against Estonia. Be nice to finish with a 6-7 record, or with a loss that's 5-8. But 6-7 sounds a lot better.
Absolutely, and Japan's been playing fairly well this week. It's just a matter of a couple shots here and there. You know, their overall team percentage isn't that much lower than Team Sweden when you look at it. It's only about 3 to 4%. So it's just a matter of what shots you make at what time, and that's what Japan needs to do. Is just they need to put about 8 shots together per end and trying to really get some momentum for themselves.
And looking at those numbers, the third position will be one really important. Kaho Onadera has the experience. She played in Olympic Winter Games previously in Sochi in 2014. So she has that, and she's played very well. And then you have Sarah McManus, who's right there when you think of female thirds in the game right now. She's probably the first name that comes to mind.
Oh, for sure. Sarah is incredible. What an incredible athlete, incredible.
So just getting set to start off this game. We are over on sheet D. A full four sheets in play. In unison, 3 of them get the go-ahead, and ours just waiting to see Sofia Mabergs start this game off for Sweden. Looking forward to it because I think both teams, knowing where they're at in the standings, obviously It doesn't have playoff implications. Go out, let's be real aggressive, let's go have some fun.
Ganska mycket hjälp. Där, ja.
Bra linje!
Rakt nära. Försiktigt.
Bra linje!
Och ganska rakt. Där går det. Bra linje. Risk.
Ja, ser det.
Risk.
Ta den långt där.
Nej, den sitter.
Ta den långt. Okej, låt den sitta
Sitter
då.
mycket nu, men... Sitta. Okej.
So that first one slides into the rings.
14-0.
We'll see Japan play the hit.
85 hade jag. Ja. Jag har bra koll.
Det satt ganska mycket ändå, men...
Det var ganska mycket i handen. Jag tyckte inte jag slidade skithårt, men...
Nej, jag hade 0 på toppen.
Ja, jag hade 11. Och så lite push på det.
Ja, precis. Där måste han ha.
Ja.
Nära då.
Ja. Bara lite mer försiktigt.
Ja.
Ja.
Bra linje!
Ja, det känns också ganska nära.
Ganska eka lite mer runt.
Väldigt nära.
So first stone in, then you see the hit and roll out. Sweden trying to put that center line guard out just to really force the issue, and especially without the hammer to start this game.
Like you said, both teams want to play fairly aggressive. They want to come out and have some fun, try and make some big shots, and most importantly, come out with a W, whichever team it is. And you know, we go back, Luke, to just talking about why they're perhaps resting Agnes, and you have to think you just played 12 games in a very condensed round robin, and you want to be very fresh for the playoffs tomorrow, the qualifiers tomorrow. And as a front-end player, like, just think about all the work you have to do as a front-end player. So it's really, really important. I think it's going to be crucial for that team, for Team Sweden, to rest their second.
And they did play this afternoon, so you add that as well, and knowing that they're going to play tomorrow morning. And we see the nice come around. Yoshimura goes around. Agnes Nakanauer able to see it from a different perspective. Obviously different sitting in behind than out on the ice. So Johanna Haldin in at the second position.
Bak 4.
Was with them
Kan vi gå runt den?
last World Championship in 2019 as their alternate as well, so familiar with the team.
Bak lag.
And some people might wonder, Luke, why you wouldn't maybe sit your lead, for example. But your lead is such a crucial position in our game right now, and it's so important to make sure that they keep that momentum going.
So we see the rules of play. 6 ends minimum must be played, 38 minutes of thinking time, and 1 60-second timeout. So that one in deep. Looks like they're chasing after it.
You can see just a piece of it, and I think they're maybe trying to tap it back if they can. Tap and roll.
It's the second for Japan, Anna Omiya. Wow, very nice. Taps it back. And that looked very easy.
It did, again, just a tribute to the ice makers. They've done such a great job with this ice all week long. It's fast. It's about 14.5 between the two hog lines, and tons of curl. And you can just wait, as you know, you can hold the line for 3/4 of the way almost to the hog line before it makes its break.
So if you're Japan, you have to like the way this one has started. You have the hammer. Yoshimura get a little roll to the outside.
That's exactly what they're playing. They made such a great come around that set them up for this potential opportunity to set themselves up for the deuce. So if they can hit and roll to the wing, obviously to stay second shot would be key.
Well, makes the hit, but we're unable to hold it. And actually rolls just out of the rings.
And those are the kind of shots that we're talking about, Luke. Again, I go back and look at the numbers for Team Japan. They are so close, position for position. It's just a matter of shots here and there. And those are what we call, you know, the easier shots. Those are the ones that you have to make, a hit and stick or a hit and roll to the outside. And they had such beautiful weight, but it just didn't curl enough. But to play at this level, those are the ones you have to make. Those are the sort of, you know, higher percentage shots of making.
Well, Sarah McManus got to play the run back, and it will over curl. And Hasselborg has no problem. Definitely will call the run back more than probably any team in the field.
I would definitely agree with that. They make so many of those shots. So Japan had a small little opening in this end, then Sweden had it back just by that hit and roll out by Japan. With that missed run back now, opportunity back into Japan's corner here to lie 2 again.
On Kaho Onodera.
They haven't laid a broom to this one. Really need it to stop. Again, that's one of those situations, Luke, where you have an open draw anywhere in the rings, and you just can't miss those. So instead of line 2, if Sweden makes the hit and stick on this one, you're actually now facing 2 as we move to the later of this end.
So right on the nose, they do lie 2. See if Japan can get out of it now. So Onodera will try to make up for that.
I'd like to get the double here if they could, but otherwise the hit and roll. You know, Japan could easily try and get out of here with a blank if they were able to hit and roll in front of those, in front of that other red stone, or even make the double. So depending on where Anna Hasselborg rolls with her shooter.
Does have to roll to that side to avoid the jam. Oh, and Anna Hasselborg, one of those titles she has yet to win is this event, the World Women's Curling Championship. Finished second in the last 2 Worlds. Well, makes the hit and will roll off to the side. And it will stay on the rings. Because it was in front of the tee line, Japan couldn't sweep it. They were hoping.
So that does force Japan now to have to hit and roll off that one on the outside. They could be very aggressive if they wanted to, Luke. They could actually freeze to one of those stones, but neither of them are in very good position, so I like this call. It's interesting, you saw 3 of the members of the Japanese team actually cleaning the area between the rock that they're about to hit and the hog line there, so I'm not sure if there was some debris or something on the ice surface.
Well, we'll probably see a broom down, as we have seen for Yoshimura's first. Well, catches it thin and will roll across the top. Still that biter, back of the 12-foot. So really been some half shots in this end.
Yeah, quite a few half shots actually, and again, we just keep going back to the same thing, that you need to make the easier shots or the higher percentage shots. So this is a great opportunity for number 1 for Anna Hasselborg to get an idea of her draw weight. We're looking for about 14.5 between the 2 hog lines. That's the time it takes for the rock to travel between those 2 hog lines. And ideally, she'd like to separate these rocks as much as possible and make the double as very, very difficult on Japan as possible. And if they can't make the double, at least force them to have to take a single.
Well, we'll see the hog-to-hog time as well. Been 14.5 for the most part this week. And that should be pretty good close to the tee line. Well, maybe a little slower in that spot, but top of the 8-foot has done the job. So Sayaka, Yoshimura. That was this hit. Could draw, but not surprised to see the hit here in this first end.
Yeah, a lot of skips maybe would step up and throw the draw. You just have to hit 8-foot, but she threw a hit in her last one, so she's comfortable with this. And you can have quite a ways to roll if you have to.
So right on the nose, single point in this first end is Japan striking first against Sweden, leading 1-0 after one. So we start end two. Japan gets a single in the first. Some little miscues both sides in this game. And Melissa, is that a case sometimes where you come in, you know it doesn't mean anything, you're a little looser, or just the execution just wasn't there?
It's hard to say. I mean, again, we go back to the fact that both of these teams, especially Sweden, I would say, want to win this game. They want to carry some momentum into championship weekend. I really think it's just the execution and maybe not having a full grasp on what the ice is doing, even though it hasn't changed a lot. But I think both teams just need to be a little sharper going into the second end.
Well, Sofia Mavericks, 87%. This Sweden team that knows all about the playoffs and what they entail. Yumie Funayama went in, can see part of that stone in the rings.
Yeah, interesting call here, actually, Luke, where you put the effort out to put up the center guard, and then Sweden comes around. I'm surprised that they didn't corner freeze to that Swedish stone instead of hitting, simply because you are trying to force your opponent to take a single with the hammer. You're trying to decrease the scoring area. And I know it's only the second end of the second rock, but that's kind of why you put up the center guard, is you want to use it.
Well, Sweden and Sofia Marberg's able to roll to the side. Able to just get that one out of the rings. So we'll check in Czech Republic and Denmark in that first end, and just one stone in the rings for Anna Kubeshkova. Pretty wide open rings.
It looks like it is a blank attempt here for Denmark. Just trying to hit and roll out, retain hammer. And I don't think so.
So it sticks around. A single by Denmark, not what they wanted, but they do score first, leading that one 1-0. And that Denmark result actually has a lot of implications on who Sweden will play tomorrow. Because if Denmark wins, it makes it really simple. It's the US playing Denmark and Canada versus Sweden in 2 qualifying games. If they lose, then it also depends what Scotland does, but we can talk through some of those throughout. Could be a number of different qualifying game matchups between Sweden, Canada, USA, and Denmark.
Yeah, it's one thing to know who the qualifiers are, but it's another thing to know who you play in the morning and preparing yourself and preparing for that particular game. So we won't know that till the end of this draw.
Oh, and that one doesn't touch the boards, so.
So back on our sheet, Japan made a great hit and roll behind that center guard. It was almost fully buried. Sweden trying to make a play on it, does clip the center guard, and that's the one that rolled off to just barely by the boards there. So opportunity now for Japan.
Japanese second, Ano Omiya. So doesn't quite guard that stone side of the button.
Two things there, Luke. Unfortunately for Japan, because of the way where that red guard rolled, it is still a corner guard. So opportunity for Sweden now to hit that yellow stone that's fully exposed and actually roll towards their corner.
Maybe get a little bit tucked, sit in the top of the forefoot. And Joanna Haldin. And for Japan coming into this game, just because of the change in the schedule with everything that played out this week, they're actually on the same sheet back-to-back games. They played here earlier this afternoon, but we're throwing the red stones. But they'll have a good idea of what the ice is doing. But with a different set of stones, obviously.
That's a great point. They should have a really good idea just based on that. And of course, they've likely been scouting the rocks all week long.
So trading shots back and forth. Can't see much of this for Sarah McManus. Again, these curlers are so good, they make that shot look so simple. So you see Hiroshi Sato, the coach of this Japanese team. They won their Japanese championship. You get the right to come here and you have a chance. You're 5-7 coming in, you're taking on a 2-time world silver medalist, Olympic gold medalist, trying to finish off on a good note.
You can see that nice weight that both teams are throwing there.
Coach of the Sweden team, Wayne Mada, adding a lot of expertise to a very talented Sweden team. Of course, Wayne, a three-time world champion in 3 different positions. Well, gets a little flip to the outside. Back and forth we go here in end number 2.
This is one of those things, Luke, where you're trying to throw that nice soft weight, because if you're, you know, half buried, 3/4 buried, you can still access the rock that's behind a guard. But with that lighter weight, you have to be very, very aggressive on the roll. You have to hit probably a little less than you think you have to hit just to get a bigger roll. And Sweden was almost at that point where they were going to do that, and they were a little nervous at the end there and called on the sweep. But it's not going to, you have to remember, it's not going to roll extremely far with that less weight.
So we'll look over and see Czech Republic and Denmark. Denmark, really, this game, again, depends on how it plays out of who Sweden will play in the qualifying games tomorrow. They lead Czech Republic 1-0. Looks like that one is a biter in the back as well.
It is. This is a draw against 2 for the Czech Republic to tie this game.
And we said Japan playing on the same sheet back-to-back games. This is the 3rd game of the day for Anna Kubeškova and Czech Republic. One of the unfortunate ways that it has to go out, but they're able to try and come out with this one. They'll tie up the game with that draw to the back of the 12-foot. So they're all tied up 1-1. Again, if it is a Denmark win, they play the US and Canada plays Sweden in the qualifying games. Anna Hasselborg now has a chance to come around because that roll was so big by Japan.
That's right, it rolled to the back 12-foot, wide open. So this is an opportunity to get what we call a skip's deuce if they can make this one really good and Japan misses. Trying to get it fully buried behind that center guard.
Haldin and Maberg's trying to get it there, but it's not going to get even to the rings.
Wow.
Sorry, I don't know if I touched this rock. Sorry? I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
So if Japan makes a good one here, they pretty much just have to hit ring. They will be forcing Sweden to have to take a single point. What they'd like to do, Luke, is just get probably halfway around those 2 center guards. They don't need to fully bury it. They can, obviously. But if you get halfway around, there's no double opportunity, no blank opportunity.
The Japanese skip, 29 years of age. It's been 6 years since her previous trip to a world championship. Trying to get around.
Great brushing.
Yeah, obviously probably 4 foot is ideal, but that puts the pressure on.
Yeah, the front end took that as far as they could. They swept it the whole way. It's a good look at it there, fully buried. It doesn't allow Sweden to make a hit on anything. So this is a draw to the 4 foot against 2. Really good, strong end here by Team Japan.
So Anna Hasselborg, full 8 foot or better to get this single point. She came up short on her first.
Kan ni bakfila gärna inte?
Nej.
Börjar bli bra.
Ja, håll er nära. Det är bara fridragning. Ni klarar
Bakfila,
nu.
bakfila 10.
Japp. Nej,
Bakfila,
vi är
vi måste.
förbi. Vi är knappt förbi alltså.
Oh, just a light clean and
Bra, bra skött.
get around right to the button for Sweden to tie things up. So each team with a single, we're through 2 ends.
Med tanke på hur olika jag spelar.
Sweden and Japan here in the final round robin session.
Så att den hämtar lite. Det gjorde du ju när vi var här mot Tyskland också.
Den fastnade när vi inte höll ner. Då fastnade
Exakt.
liksom. Fast det
Jag springer på toa.
Det behövdes för att vara hård. Ja. Det var liksom 15,5 minuter. Ja, exakt. Känns väldigt nära.
Ja,
Nej, den är där, den är där. Frisk.
Ja, den går väldigt rakt.
So 1-1, we play in the third end, the LGT World Women's Curling Championship. Luke Kohler here alongside Melissa Saligo, and
Rent om du kan.
back and forth, one in the first of each of the 2 ends. And it hasn't been crisp. There's been mistakes, and the teams without the hammer have been able to get a force.
They haven't. And just looking at the numbers, actually, Luke, both teams are over the 50% mark for force efficiency for the tournament. So that's good. That's a really small victory if you can always, anytime you can force your opposition to get a single when you have the hammer. Then when they have the hammer, pardon me.
後ろ行こう。後ろあるわ。結構あるな、ギリギリ。12.9。曲がってはきてる。9。8まで来てほしい。
So we'll jump over and keep you up to date. Switzerland, who clinched the 1 seed earlier today, leading Estonia, who's at the bottom end at 1-11. And it's a draw, but the difference here is Switzerland's mixed up their lineup. They're giving Tiranzoni a rest, the regular skip. So Alina Petz, who skipped a World Championship team before, is skipping against the rookie in Marie Turman and Estonia.
Den hänger det en massa plats.
So again, yeah, just again, long week, right? Give someone a rest that can be sharp for the
Nej, den är där.
Vi har ingen
Den ser ut
linje.
att vara där.
for the qualifying games. And so this is a draw for 2 and just goes a little bit heavy.
So 1 for Estonia, 1-1.
Det var bara mycket is.
They lost to Japan earlier today. We're down 2 heading to the 10th end, and very close. So they've been blown out in a few games, but they've been very competitive throughout the entire week.
まっすぐ。
まっすぐ目なんだ。
6。ナイスキー。6。はいよ。ちょっとイエスだ。イエス。イエス。ナイエス。ゴーバック。ナイエス。
曲がってる曲がってる。
ナイエス。
Trying hard to get this by, and it just crashes the center line. You see both of those rocks, both Japan and Sweden, slipping behind the tee line on the first couple of rocks there.
So the center's still in play, and they're gonna try to come around lie 2. Obviously, Joanna's been with the team for a couple of years now, so they're very comfortable with her stepping in this position. but it's definitely got to be different for Hasselborg, and then even Sophia Maberg's in sweeping with her also.
I would totally agree, and you know, it is a team decision for sure, and there's always advantages and disadvantages to making these kind of team decisions. You know, we've talked about how Sweden would like to win this game to keep the momentum going into the qualifying weekend. However, when you change your lineup, you also change the dynamic of the situation out there. So does that defeat the purpose of trying to win this game? So it just depends on the team, and you know, everyone's different, and they've obviously made this change for a reason. And I think if you can keep one of your front end players fresh, why not?
Just misses the double peel, Anna Omiya. Kim gets rid of the one.
Samma spår som jag drog! Ja. Så 14-0. 14-0. Ja, jag tänker också det. Våga sätta den där. Ja, det är bra. Ha lite plats. Bra linje! 8! 8! 4! Vi har plats! 4! Plats! 4! Bra fart! Försöker! 8! Plats! Snart! Det går snart! Fight 4! Japp Sara, den börjar gå! 14-4, japp! Vidare fart! Japp, fortsätt gå! Fortsätt gå! Antar! Bra Anna!
Well, trying to get that as hidden as possible.
Great brushing there. You can see there, you can probably see about half of it. That does give Japan the opportunity now just to throw this nice light half weight, hit what they can see and try and roll behind their yellow guard. Big shot here will turn around this end.
Well, very nice right back. Gets the roll in front. Well, Scotland, China over on sheet B. Scotland and China both eliminated earlier today. It looks like China is one in the back of the 8-foot.
Yeah, China lies 1. Scotland has last stone here and is just drawing to full 8, it looks like. You can even draw up to that China stone, get their single.
Well, both these teams had disappointing losses this morning. It was China to Canada and Scotland to Denmark that really put them out of any chance of getting in the playoffs.
This has a little extra legs on it, Luke. I think it's, wow, it does. It does go too far.
So steal of 1 for China. They lead 1-0 after 2.
Sorry, that was my bad. No, that's all right. Oh, guys. Sorry, that was my bad. Sorry.
We even heard in that the front end apologizing. I think they misjudged that a bit.
Well, they were. They did actually were sweeping it a little bit, and probably didn't have a huge impact, but there wasn't a lot of communication going between the brushers and the person calling the line. So just a mistake there by Scotland.
A hit made by Sweden now forcing this. Can they make the double back? No double made, but it moves it out. Again, third end, Japan throwing the Yellowstones, has the hammer.
Sweden made a good one on the previous shot to get that rock out of the way that was in the top 4 and it was right in front of their other stone. And then Japan obviously playing the hit and roll, and again just throwing that nice light weight, so you really hard to make a double with that kind of weight.
Well, they get off early knowing that they were going to crash on that front one. Real alert line call by Anna Hasselborg.
Brilliant call. That just shows the experience right there of her making that plan B shot. So for Team Japan, they talked about going to the back one, maybe moving the back one. They don't actually have to do that. They do have hammer here in the third end, so they just want to put this one maybe half buried or fully buried behind that red guard as long as it's second shot.
あ、まっすぐ。まっすぐ。ロッケー。Yes。前大丈夫。ロッケー7あるよ。前大丈夫。はい、大丈夫。まだある。どこまである？8。あるならつけたい。オッケー。あ、ないな。そんなないか。そこまではないわ。どうだ？7、8だな。7ある。お、その方がいいかな。平行になるよ。
I just don't want to be deep and set up any sort of double. Does have some catchers back there.
Yeah, they really wanted that one, Luke, above the tee line. They wanted to take this shot away from. They didn't want to give this shot to Sweden. So Sweden now has this opportunity to throw the freeze and pretty much take this. If they can make it perfect, they'll take this end away from Team Japan, who was kind of setting up for their deuce.
Farten spelade på sista, är den lite lång eller?
Ja, lite skulle jag säga.
Lite in i det här va?
Ja, lite in i det. Jag hade 14-2, 14-3.
Ja, det här är lite mindre is än vad du hade Anna. Jag tyckte du satte din bra.
Ja, alltså bara gå ner lite i klipp bara, inte mycket.
Ja. Så vad vill ni ha då? Typ en
05? Ja.
Vad hade ni på den då?
95.
So we saw in the second in, Anna Hasselborg came up short on her first draw, and on her second one made it perfect to the pretty much to the button for her single point. So we'll see what we get on this one.
Bra linjer! Bra linjer! Vart är vi? 4 plats! Plats! Ingen dutt! Ingen dutt på här! Plats! Ingen dutt! Den går nu! Perfekt linje! Ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt. Kalla, kalla, kalla! Bra skött tjejer, jättebra.
Yeah, that's a pretty good adjustment.
I would say that's pretty perfect.
Jättebra skött.
What a shot by Anna Hasselborg.
Din klocka fel.
Ja, 13-0. Den är typ en
And again, that's just the consequence of Team Japan coming behind the tee line. And by doing that, it's almost if you're going to come behind the tee line, you should have maybe taken it even farther back as long as it was second shot. So, you know, that's just those very fine points that you want to think about.
9で。オッケー。カウチャーより狭めてる。
結構狭いね。あんなもんか。9。
Does it look like they indicated try to hit it on the nose and tap it back a little bit? Just maybe move those and
I think so. With that ice, I would say that potentially throwing maybe back line to hack weight, maybe more back line-ish. Try and get to the face of the red stone, just thrown by Anna. They probably won't be able to get that red stone go anywhere, but they might be able to pop it out into the open towards the center line. Won't move very much. If they can unlock that back one though, Luke, they'll still have that opportunity maybe to score a deuce here.
I really got to work, get this one by. I don't know if it had the weight for where their broom was.
You know, and another overcurl. We've had a few overcurls so far. A couple of, well, at least 3 or 4 guards have been hit so far this game.
Så om man bara skulle lämna boet som det är nu, så är det helt fint. Nej, men då skulle de ju chappa för 2. Ja, men då sticker ju den där, så tror jag ändå att de får poäng på den och den, eller? Om man bara skulle lämna det. Så då borde vi kunna gadda med det.
Ja, jag gillar det. För även om man skulle skava på sin egen här, då stannar den. Man får inte ut den på något sätt.
Aldrig
Jag gillar den. Jag gillar den.
Ja, för att om vi tar bort den här, så.
We'll discuss the Switzerland-Estonia game over on sheet C. It looks like Estonia's got one there side of the button.
Och jag tänkte lös.
I think you're right. They are line one, but I believe with a nice soft tap back weight, there is an opportunity for Switzerland to potentially score 3.
58 tror jag.
Well, and Alina played really well this afternoon, and it's got Esther Neuenschwander in the house with Silvana Tiranzoni taking the evening off, and no problem there for Alina Petz, you just assume that's going to be made by her.
That's a terrific shot. And just look at that weight control. Just fantastic.
So they get 3 and a 4-1 lead. They keep rolling, and they clinched the 1 spot earlier today. They know they'll face the lowest seed left in the semifinals tomorrow. Sweden, the only team to beat Switzerland this week. But Sweden knows they'll have to play in the qualifying game tomorrow. Are they guarding theirs?
Their original thought was to come right on top of the stone that was just thrown by Anna, like freeze right on top of it. So I think that that's maybe what they're doing. No, it looks like they're going to throw the guard.
Don't know if you can move that red far enough to bring that other yellow into play.
I'm not sure that you can. I think they just, I think all they can do right now is maybe draw for 1. I'm not sure that Anna could have done much wrong there, whether she threw the guard or actually froze right on top. I think she was thinking if she froze on top, maybe they could hit it, spill, and maybe get 2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, but maybe that's what we should do right now.
I agreed with you 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
But maybe that's the shot we should do today. But det vi sa att vi bara, om vi hade, jag sa ju så här, om vi hade kunnat placera den här utan.
That's an element you really like to see, is that they are able now with the coaches on the ice level, they can have that communication throughout the game, or in between ends and at moments like that.
So I actually do think that maybe their first shot was to come right on top, but the tolerance, which is perfect, was to be on the lighter side, and that was a great, great shot. So this is a draw now to the button. They have to get a piece of the button for their single.
Well, makes its move, got to come right down to that Sweden stone, chip, roll off, and
Well
score your 1.
done.
Well, forces have been the theme so far in this game. All 3 have been forces, and Japan leads 2-1 after 3 ends.
Men helt ärligt, det kanske är just den vi ska spela nu.
Handväskeplacering.
Ja, alltså för jag...
Inside the Winsport Arena at Canada Olympic Park, the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021. 2-1 is the score. All 3 ends have been forces. So Sweden will try and break the trend. Japan will obviously, they're going to break the trend, like to get a steal.
Yeah, we just haven't seen either team put together 8 solid shots. Just some half shots throughout. Japan playing a little better in that second end to force. Sweden playing better in that third end to force Japan to 1.
Sofia Mabergs, 87% for the tournament. Try and go into the top part of the rings.
That stone of Japan's is very, very close to the hog line, so it is quite far, quite high, so it's a little easier to access stones in the rings.
mer än vad jag trodde.
And even top 12 foot may even be out a little bit. Seems to be the way Japan likes to go after this. If it's open at all, make a play on it.
We talked about this, I believe, in the first end where, you know, they go to the effort of putting up a center guard. Sweden comes around. Again, an option here is to freeze, corner freeze to that one rather than hit it. But I think with this particular one, because they feel that the guard is so high, they could maybe hit right on the nose and stay, but it did roll a little bit. So now the hit game's on where it's a little harder to force your opponent when you don't have rocks in play and trying to cover up that 4-foot area.
So little roll to the side, stays in the ring, so we'll see a hit back. And keep an eye, Scotland and China, 1-0 China leading. But a chance for Eve Muirhead and Scotland to get 2 back.
Yeah, it looks like it is an open hit for 2 points for Scotland. They can roll pretty much anywhere else into the rings. There is another yellow China stone just on the edge.
Almost 11. Almost 11. Clean, yep. Yep. 10-8. Nice, Eve.
Right on the nose, so 2 points for Scotland. They have a 2-1 lead over China. And that game will have playoff implications if Denmark loses their game against the Czech Republic. As Japan flashes that one just quickly for Sweden. If Denmark loses that game and then Scotland loses, Sweden would play Denmark, Canada would play the US. But if Scotland wins and Denmark loses, Sweden plays USA and Denmark plays Canada. But that game might not matter at all if Denmark wins. Then it's Canada-Sweden. Hope you were taking notes and are ready to go for who's playing who tomorrow.
I feel like there's going to be a quiz. So again, that's a big miss for Team Japan, and you know, another opportunity for them just to hit an open rock, hit and roll behind their guard. They flash it. And without the hammer here in the fourth end, those are just shots you can't miss, Luke.
Yeah, now chasing, and now you can't afford a half shot.
Exactly.
And Omiya, 79%.
So for Japan on this particular shot, they want to either hit and roll behind the guard or hit and roll towards the other red stone and try and group those stones, but this one isn't going to come up enough. So there's probably an adjustment made there. Sorry, Luke. There probably was an adjustment where they were soft and curled past it on the previous one, and this one didn't quite curl enough, so maybe up their weight a little.
So Sweden go around it. Obviously, an important rock placement. Try and secure this too. They have set up. Joanna Haldin, 75%. She was in their game against Czech Republic. They won. She got in for 2 ends at lead position. Obviously late in the game. Only curled, it was at 69%, but that's on 4 rocks.
So Sweden would really like this stone to hit the rings, but it is going to come up light.
That has been the way this first 4 ends of this game has gone. It seemed at every point of every end, the team with the hammer had a chance to set up and score 2, and then gave it up.
Yes, that has been a bit of a pattern so far this game. So with that rock coming up light, this is Japan's possibility now to get around both of those guards and get one buried. Try and put some pressure on Team Sweden. You see how much this one is curling.
Do not want to tap that one in. Get away with it and roll in for shot.
weight was pretty good. It was just they not only had to get it past the top one, but they actually had to get it past the redstone as well.
Eller bara tjappa! Jag gillar dock den!
Vilken fart? 9. Det finns lite kall va?
Ja, lite, men inte jättemycket va? Vill du ha det där?
Ja.
So the short slash a little bit easier than playing the quiet tap.
It is, and the reason for that is because they're worried that if they go for the yellow Japanese stone, they'll hit it straight back on their red one, and they want to maintain that one in the ring. So they figured this one's a little easier and can roll their corners to the same direction.
And
It's
have
a
both buried.
brilliant shot.
Bra, 9-0. Bra fart. Bra. Grymt. Bra fart. Nice.
You just watch this again, Luke. You just hit 3/4, and everything's rolling to the same side.
Just a really smart read.
Very. It's just brilliant. That's a great call by Anna and a great shot by Sarah. This is not an easy shot here by Team Japan. They have to navigate this port, which is kind of the opposite way you want to come around guard. So they have to get by that center line high one first, and then it will start curling a lot, and you have to almost sweep it to get by the other redstone. But this might be a little heavy.
It's trying its best as it comes down past the first one, bounces off the second, and looks like it's just shot stone.
Yeah, not too bad. Just a couple feet too heavy. I think it is yellow. So it will force Sweden to have to make a play on it. That's a pretty good shot.
Har jag råd att spela dit det lite?
Ja, jag tycker att du ska det, ja.
Those numbers, 82% for Sarah McManus. Pretty much what we expect to see out of her all the time. Spins it off that one, able to get away with the miss hit to still lie 2.
You can just see Sarah McManus's face there. She's like, oh, that was so close. She just hit enough of it to actually keep that second redstone in the rings.
You mentioned it earlier, Melissa. Look at this, the extra cleaning that the front end down at the other end. Almost the whole length of the sheet, giving it an extra clean before she heads down for this delivery. So they head down. You see all 4 sheets in action. This will be the last time we have 4 sheets. Tomorrow morning we'll have the 2 qualifying games. As we're into the playoff picture starting tomorrow. So still not an easy shot to make. It doesn't look appealing to the eye.
It really doesn't, and it looks like, I feel like she has taken even a little bit less ice than her third, and what's happened is the third had a little bit extra weight, and it went to the back one. So if she's tightened up the ice, and if you throw less weight, it's likely going to swing, so she's got to be really careful here.
Sayaka Yoshimura, 77% on the event in her first time skipping at a Worlds.
Look at this. Don't want to bounce.
Just that little bit of bounce, is it too much?
What a good try. She's so close, Luke. Just a foot lighter. She has an absolutely perfect shot. I do think it's open enough now. We'll have a look at it to see if Team Sweden can access it.
Well, as we saw last weekend when we were here before our break in the middle of the event, the ice hasn't changed. You're still seeing that swing to the wing.
Yeah, the ice, again, just fantastic. It's been so good all week. So because of that little bump and roll off from the Japanese stone, there is an ability here now for Anna Hasselborg. She's going to throw just tap weight, and if she can just get to what she can see of that yellow stone, she probably won't disturb either of her red rocks that are already in the rings.
81% on the event for Anna Hasselborg. Get enough, chip it, avoid the jam, and roll over to lie 3.
What a shot. Beautiful weight control.
See that late sweep by Sofia Marbergs to try and get it over there so they can avoid the jam.
And they really didn't put a broom down the entire way until that very end there, what we saw, but terrific shot there by Team Sweden.
Förra matchen fick hon inte det till exempel, men nu fick hon ju det. Ja, precis.
Well, this is really the first time a team with the hammers threatened this late in an end. And this isn't just a deuce right now, it's possibly a 3 unless Yoshimura can make a great, looks like a hit and roll.
She's either playing the hit and roll or even the double. She'll take either or. Very, very precise if she were to hit and try and roll to shot stone behind that red one, but so a couple of options here, but would love to put some pressure on Sweden here.
I'll get one and make the double. Very nice, Yoshimura.
Terrific.
Great double to just limit to 2.
Beautiful shot. Upped her weight a little bit and it ran straighter, but she made no mistake in making that double. That was huge for Team Japan. Great shot.
Again, another one where the sweepers didn't do a whole lot the whole way down. Not sure if they laid a broom. Hasselborg really set up by Sarah McManus and her raise and roll. Chance to score 2.
So probably looking, just based on that one we saw earlier, about a 14, maybe 14-2, 14-3. Maybe a couple.
I think she was laid out of her hand.
You think so? So working hard to get this on the paint. There it is.
It wasn't as light as I think she thought right of her hand. They get it to the 8 foot. Great sweep, including Anna, and they score the 2 points. Take their first lead of this game, 3-2. Sweden leads Japan. So end number 5, Sweden gets the first deuce of the game.
Du håller den jättebra. Häng
Sarah
Hanna.
McManus with a key shot in that end.
Räcker där. Tak, že takhle je to dobrý, jo?
Ska få lite
We
mer.
play end number 5. We'll check in on the 5th end. Czech Republic and Denmark. It is Denmark leading 2-1.
And I think this is a draw for 3
Genom varse.
for Team Denmark.
Protaženej.
Looks like they have to hit just a piece of the 8.
Ideme se to jede.
Opatrně.
Arina, 8-5.
Oh, sorry, for Czech Republic, not Denmark, against Denmark.
Rozhodně ne. Rozhodně ne.
Just have to count that one biting the 8-foot.
Gotta hang on.
It'll be close. It's 2 for sure.
That's one of those ones that you want to make sure you make.
I would say 2.
So let's measure these two.
Yeah.
So they will measure on that one for the 3rd point.
And measure for first shot.
And we will make sure, once we do that, we can keep you up to date with that game with a measure for the 3rd point. But it's 2 for sure for Czech Republic.
Vad med du, så? 11-8.
Bra.
Bra.
Center guard, draw deep. Coming out in the open.
Bra sågat. Bra.
We've seen that hit by the on the 3rd stone of the end, probably more than I've seen in a lot of games.
Yeah, Team Japan again slipping behind that T line. And for Sweden with that 1-point lead, they would be happy right now to even blank is okay on this end.
And Scotland, China. Scotland leading China 2-1. So hit there, that's Scotland gets their 2.
Good.
Really nice throw.
So trading hits, the one back of the 4-foot.
So Japan also would be very happy with a blank here. They would love to have hammer and they even in after the break. But as you see, that rock keeps climbing forward. And pretty soon there's an opportunity for the hit and roll behind the guard and another rock. It could be ahead of the tee line. So Japan just needs to be very careful. Sweden is playing the hit and roll towards the center.
Won't go to the center, rolls to the outside.
And based on rock placement right now, Luke, there is a small opening for Japan to maybe play a little bit more aggressive and try and get a deuce here in this end, but you can tell by their choice of shots that they would be very happy just to blank this end.
Gets that roll. Again, just one stone in the rings.
Trying for the hit and again roll towards center. I've seen this a couple of times. A little bit difficult to get that hit and roll.
It seems like every end has been very similar in this style of game so far.
I actually thought both teams would come out a little bit more aggressive, trying to get more rocks in play, trying to force the issue a little bit more. But there's still 5.5 ends left to play.
Well, big if this one rolls out as it rolls off to the side and just hangs around.
I think we're going to see Sweden probably hit it.
Spela en säker nia, liksom 8-8.
Ja. Ta med om det. Förut har du fått lite fäste.
With that 1-point lead, Sweden doesn't need to take any chances at this point.
Säker nia.
Ren.
Nia.
Japp.
Japp.
Nia.
Japp.
Järnet.
Janet! Janet! Go, 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 go! Bra.
Well, big sweep to hold that one. And now we have a stone rolling out. And Japan with the hammer.
Ja, men då ska vi betta mer is.
Nej, alltså jag gillade.
Doesn't want to duke it out with the center. And going to try and hold that hammer into the even ends. Last of third stones for Onodera.
And I think if that would have happened maybe a couple of rocks earlier, Luke, then maybe we would have seen her try something a little bit more offensive. But this end is getting close to skip stones here. Not a lot left, so I think they'll just play it out.
Destined for a blank. And so it was Sweden that rolled out, so Japan peeled the center. If it was Japan that would have rolled out, Sweden probably would have went right around.
Absolutely.
Lite hård. Ja, den känns lite hård.
So
Vilken tid snart? Det rör sig ganska lugnt. 13-7.
So just put this one to the heart of the rings and try and force different shots for Japan as they trail Sweden 3-2 in our feature game on sheet D. Czech Republic gets just 2. They don't get the extra point in the measure, so 3-2 over Denmark. 2-2 Scotland and China in the fifth end of that one. And Switzerland up 4-3 over Estonia. Well, this is the final round robin session. Wrap it up. It'll determine the seeding of 4 through 6. 1, 2, 3 is locked up. Switzerland is 1. RCF is 2. Sweden is the 3 seed. Doesn't matter what happens in the evening games here tonight. And Sweden, again, changed the lineup tonight, knowing they're going to be basically 3 straight sessions playing. The afternoon, evening, and then the morning. And the morning one really is the important one because it's all sudden death after this game. So back button, and now you peel the center to blank the end, keep the hammer.
And I like that Sweden didn't roll there, so by being on the center line there, Japan has to roll the farthest they would ever have to roll to blank this end.
Well, and Omiya trying to make sure they hit, and the roll out. Got to keep spinning on out of the rings for the blank. And they will retain the hammer as we head to the fifth end break. Sweden, a 3-2 advantage over Japan here in our feature game. So first end, not really able to generate anything. You see that biter in the back, meaning it is Sweden line 2, forcing Japan to hit for their single point.
Japan with a very important hammer in the first end. Just couldn't get anything going, some hit and roll outs. But they did manage the hit and stick for their single.
So an early single by Japan with the hammer. And then in the third end, it is Japan with the hammer again.
Yeah.
But then, but maybe that's what we should do, right?
I agreed with you 100%.
So shot stone,
Maybe that's the shot.
Sweden, they guarded up and left a difficult draw here for Yoshimura.
Yeah, she pretty much had to hit button on this one. Not a lot of space. An extremely well-managed stone here by the Japanese front end.
Well, front end managed this one right down. Just bounces off that one and gets their single point to take the lead. And the fourth end, really the only pressure put on by a team with the hammer. And it was a great roll that rolled that guard over there for Sarah McManus, and Sweden left this draw for a second point.
Yeah, Japan was so close. They did make a double unbelievably on their last shot. So, but because of that, they were line 3 at that point. So this was an open draw for 2. And Anna jumping up right away, thinking it was light out of her hand.
She had been light a couple ends earlier, so make sure it gets there. Don't want to lose that opportunity for the extra point. Get there 2, blank 5th, and a 3-2 game. In our feature game on sheet D, while on sheet A, Czech Republic leads Denmark 3-2. 2-2, Scotland and China are all tied up. Switzerland and Estonia all tied up at 4.
We have great time.
Yeah. Best our best.
Var det 310 kass i den
Best 5 ends.
punchen?
Eller alltså, jag tror det var det alla, den var ganska stor.
Jag är sjukt bra tippare.
So we get 15 minutes of rock matching practice.
We just said Johanna is doing it.
Yeah, Joanna and me and the party people. Yeah. Party people in the house.
ウェイト出過ぎないように気をつけて。いい流れだよ。
So the numbers through the first 5 ends of this, Sweden leading 3-2. Percentage very close, 81 to 79. Sweden slight advantage. They have the advantage in draws, 80 to 73%, pretty close on hits, 1% between them. Also 1 point difference in the game through 5 ends. So the Winsport Arena, home to the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021. Luke Coley alongside Melissa Saligo in our feature game in this final round robin session. Sweden taking on Japan, game number 13. And Sweden hoping that they will play 3 more this weekend, meaning they'll get into one of the games on Sunday. Obviously, the gold medal game would be their ideal. They've lost the last 2 championship finals, both in extra ends.
It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, and you know that Sweden's going to battle to try and get back there. But first, they got to get through this game, and as you said, Luke, there's no playoff implications for Sweden in this particular game, but it's all about the momentum. No matter whenever you're on the ice, no matter what you do, you always want to learn. You want to learn about rocks, you want to learn about ice, you want to learn about paths, regardless of if you're not even playing on the sheet. You have a look around, and you just keep the information coming.
Yumiya Funayama here in the 6th end. We'll see where this one goes, because we haven't seen a lot of the center line guard, and then the freezes by after this first one comes in. Well, now go right around everything will be the call. Sofia Maberg's at just 81%, lower than the tournament number. Probably thrown more hits than she has in any other game so far.
Yeah, a little surprise, I think, both you and I, Luke, just each team playing maybe a little more defensive than we were expecting for this particular game.
Gå, fortsätt, gå, hela vägen Hanna. Gå. Ah. Bra spel. Tror du det här skulle vara bra is?
Ja, jag med. Bra fart. 13-7.
Japan trying to hit and roll away. That's a great shot.
Well, to lie 2, and we'll look at Scotland against China. All 2s there, and a chance at 2 for Eve Muirhead in Scotland.
Yeah, Eve Muirhead just has to hit piece of the 8, full 12 foot for her second point. Already has 1 deuce on the board.
We'll see what the front end does. They misjudged one earlier in the game that we were updating, and we'll see where they do on this one.
Yeah, pretty much the same path too. It was a steal, ended up being a steal for Team China, so looks like no mistake on this one, and it is. It's 2 on the board for Scotland.
Really nice.
4-2 Scotland lead over China in that game as they're into the break. As Japan lies 2 in our feature game, the run back is missed just barely.
You mentioned at the beginning of the show that we will see Team Sweden make a lot of those, or attempt a lot of those run backs, and I would say more times than not they are made. So Japan has two options here. They could obviously draw to the wings on the opposite side of that red guard, but because that rock is behind the tee line, they've elected to come to the same side. But the tolerance on that particular shot would have been to be on the top half of the ring. So you want to be maybe top 12, top 8 at max. This just gave your opening back to Team Sweden.
Now is it to make the double, or do they want the roll?
Looks like they were indicating the hit and roll.
72% for Haldine in her first full game. Got in for 4 stones earlier this week. And won't hold her shooter, actually rolls right out. We look at the outskirts of the rings, those 2 Czech Republic stones counting at the moment. In Denmark, Madeline Dupont. Denmark is one of the 6 teams into the playoff picture here.
I think she's drawing against 2. I think that one in the just biting maybe the top 12 there as it's coming into our picture. It just has to hit full 12, piece of the 8.
So they are all tied up. 3-3 after 6 ends, Czech Republic and Denmark. So Japan again decides to come in. Anna Omiya, lower numbers at 66% only in the game. A lot of those, the half shots. Not complete misses, but halves.
Those are the half shots for sure, Luke. And again, on that particular shot, you have an opportunity against an elite team like Team Sweden. You have to make put those rocks in great places. And again, coming around that guard, you would have put a ton of pressure on Sweden, but it had to be above the tee line. So now the double's there.
And the roll, do they get in behind? Look at that. Sarah McManus.
Sarah McManus again. What a shot.
And we thought this third position would be key because you come in, you know what Sarah McManus and her great game is going to play, but Kaho Onodera has been right up there throughout the week statistically. This game, not so much, at 72% only. And the only deuce led by a great shot by Sarah McManus.
What a terrific shot that was. So chance here now. We've seen this shot a number of times. Try the hit and roll away. And what a good bounce back by Team Japan. That wasn't an easy shot, but very well done.
Nej, men vi lirade i de här älvorna när vi var många och då bröt det inte jättemycket.
Ja.
Men det var ett tag sedan.
Kan vara med där i alla fall. Ja.
Japan still has this chance. They've still lied 2 with the hammer. Would love to get 2 here in this even end.
Now trying to roll, and do they get it? Not quite. Not fully buried, but enough that it makes this shot a little trickier.
I actually think Onodera can maybe see even a little more on this shot than she could on the previous one, but we'll see. Exact same shot, exact same throw. Trying to hit 3/4 and roll to the wings. You can see the indication there by the front end that maybe it's a little lighter than what was called. This one's got to curl a ton still.
Try and hold the shooter, make the hit, but rolls out of the rings. So has been the case in the early going of this game. 2 set up and an unforced error.
Ja, jag tänkte också det. Nej, exakt. 9,5. Ja. Ja.
Vi kommer inte stäga dem då.
Gillar du det här, Anna?
Vad sa du?
Om de kommer att runda liksom.
Men bara via med insida, annars de rundar ju
So where do they go with this? Do you
Gillar du det här?
roll away from the corner?
I would definitely, even a nose hit isn't too bad, but if you could ever hit and roll away from the corner, force Team Japan to have to blank again. If you ever roll out, Japan, however, would try and come around the corner, I would think.
Saw those great numbers as we're used to seeing from Team Sweden and Anna Hasselborg. Make the hit, roll off to the side.
Bra, Anna. 10,5 hade du det? Nej, 10,0 hade jag. 10,5. Ja, 10,0 Bra, Anna.
10。
Japan now at a point where if it's a blank, it's a blank.
I would think so. I mean, if you are Team Japan, you really don't want to get forced. If it was later in the game maybe and you were really in desperate need of your deuce, you would maybe try and come around the corner. You could still get shot rock and bury it and hope for a miss by Team Sweden, but they're not in that desperate mode yet.
Saika Yashimura, 78% on the game. Try and roll this one in. Well, makes the hit. Where do they go?
That's that spot we saw a couple ends ago, Luke, that they actually flashed on the inside. So nice and aggressive with that roll towards the corner, but it is behind the tee line. So for Anna Hasselborg and Team Sweden, just make it go away. And then they hit nose. I
Do you
think
try and roll behind the corner?
they could. It's close enough that they could try and make it a little more difficult for Japan to try and blank.
right on the nose. So just that one stone in the rings and looking like second straight blank end.
Ja, 9-9. Ja, 9-9. Skulle de ha penna i sliden så att de skar eller något, jag vet inte.
So Anna Hasselborg has done her job here in this sixth end. Now it's Japan's turn, and Sayaka Yoshimura try to blank the end, keep the hammer, keep it a 3-2 score. Well, they want to try and roll this out, and it will not. So they'll be forced to take their one on the missed blank attempt. So we are all tied. 4 ends remaining here. Sweden against Japan. 3-3 after 6.
Som bara vill spela bort lite. Alltså, jag vet inte. Ja, det känns lite så. Alltså, för de hade kunnat runda det alla dagar i veckan.
So end number 7, a 3-3 game. Sweden gets the hammer back on the missed blank attempt. So we'll see as this one comes in for Japan. It looks like it stops just out in front.
It's out, right? I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Well, they both confirm that it is out, so difference there, Melissa. It slides in, then Sweden can go and hit it.
That's right. And also if they don't agree whether it's in or out, they can have it measured as well.
And that's a different measuring device than you see if there's 2 stones, you're not sure who's closer at the end of an end. Well, that tight center to the come around. Maberg's just back button. First time really in this game that we'll see the freeze.
And this is a perfect situation for Japan right now. They got the tight center, a little too tight, but it's tight. That one that slips behind the button, that's a great opportunity for Japan now to freeze right on it, and it's going to take some work for Team Sweden to have to get that out of there.
So look in Switzerland, Estonia tied up at 4 apiece. Lena Petz and the Swiss team that has a spot in the semifinal tomorrow. Looks like a chance to score two against Estonia, who's playing them tough this evening.
They are. Estonia Skip just missed her last shot there. And by doing that, just opens up this free draw for 2 for Team Switzerland, and Alina Petz makes no mistake.
6-4. Alina already mind thinking, have a good game here tonight and then move into the semis. No, they'll have a chance to try and be at least in the playoffs to defend their World Championship title. Switzerland women's teams winning 5 of the last 8 World Championship titles. Alina on 2 of those teams. Comes up shy. They're trying to go around, taps it in. I think it is yellow that's just shot stone.
I think so. I think for Team Japan, with that missed blank attempt in the previous end, it would be nice to either force or seal here. And they've obviously made the game plan that they were going to try and put pressure on Team Sweden by coming into the rings, but they actually could have thrown another center guard. By grouping these stones together, it does make it easier for Team Sweden to do just that and get rid of both.
So still that center line guard, those 2 in the rings.
Japan wants to be a little careful on rock placement here.
So Scotland, China on sheet B. 4-2, Scotland is leading. Looks as though they can bring that one top 8 foot into play. Han Yu and this Chinese team. China does have a spot at the Olympics next year as the host, so we know 7 teams of the 10.
Looks like they have to get nose here. They can't afford to roll either way.
Oh, no, actually touch there, spin away.
Does it roll back in?
Don't think so, just that little touch.
Just an over curl by the looks of it. So I think it's only 1.
Yeah, you see those brooms going back and forth for China to try and save that. But just caused it to spin and then it spun away. And just a single point, so 4-3. Scotland leads after 6. When the run back will clear everything in the rings.
Nice shot.
Joanna Haldine, no problem, I'll just step in. Run back and clear everything out.
Now for Japan, it does leave 2 guards out front, so small opening here to try and get one buried, but the thing is that both of those rocks out front belong to Sweden. And this one's over curling and it's going to crash on one of the front ones.
So look at all the scores. Czech Republic, Denmark all tied up at 3 in the 8th end. Scotland up 4-3 over China in the 7th end. Switzerland 6-4 over Estonia, and we're 3-3 in the 7th end. And Melissa, here's the standings. We have 6 teams qualified. Switzerland and RCF are into the semifinals with 11 wins. Switzerland the top seed. Then Sweden knows they're the 3 seed. Denmark with a win, they know they're the 4 seed. And then Canada and the US, depending on what happens, can move anywhere from the 4 through 6 position. While Korea and Scotland, even if Scotland wins, they are out because of the tiebreaker and all the 3-way tie scenarios. Because there are no tiebreaker draws.
That's right, and it's been quite a week as you look at those standings, Luke. We didn't know really till the previous draw who is in, and we don't know who plays who until the end of this draw.
Ska jag bara stansa ut lite mer eller?
Nej.
And look at this one. Great sweep. Haldin Mavericks get by that front one.
That was
Sweden
outstanding
is
brushing.
the 3 seed. They know that. They'll know who they play. If Denmark wins, they will play Canada. That's the simplest scenario. If they lose, then it'll be either Canada or pardon me, USA or Denmark who they'll play based on how Scotland does. So that changes in that tiebreaker if Scotland joins them or not. But unfortunately for Scotland, what they do doesn't allow them to get into the playoffs.
That's right. And again, I mentioned it maybe at the beginning of the show is where, you know, at this point you still don't know who you play, so it's really hard to prepare yourselves. You just have to prepare yourself for going out to play a game. You don't know who you're going to play, and you'll have all that information once we complete this draw. Then the teams will start preparing for how they want to play those teams that they end up knowing who they play.
And Sarah McManus, after that one rolls off, has a chance to play the come around. Sweden knows that they're in that, and they're thinking about that obviously already. They talked about it in the 5th end break. Their coach Wayne Madaw saying we have practice after, as they'll sort out what stones, and they will have that advantage into the qualifying game. They'll have stones of their choice.
So we saw that mistake there by Team Japan. That hit and roll is just a little bit heavy, so great opportunity, a door open for Team Sweden and no mistake made.
Jag tänkte sätta dit det lite mer, men jag hade lite mer flow i kroppen.
Jag tyckte den var väldigt lik. Alltså det här var 14:06.
Well, looking at
Exakt samma.
the stopwatch that actually goes on the broom, but I think Anna likes to hold it in her hand as opposed to have it on her broom,
Men den höll sig bra.
showing the speed that it was.
カホのホグホグ何秒だったっけ？忘れた。
So Japan without hammer here in this end. A lot of trouble right now. They're trying to draw and freeze to that one that's just sitting back button. This is a tough shot.
2は欲しいか。ね。ちょっと前でもいいから。オッケー、奥よりは。それでも2でいいよね。どう？いいよね。
So first to skip stones in the 7th end.
ちょっとセット大きいよ。オッケー。はい、チェック。7。ないよ、曲がってる。7。はい、チェック。カホ入ってて。曲がってる、曲がってる。よし。レッツゴー。イエス。カホイエス。イエス。レッツゴーよ。トライ。イエス。イエス。
Big scrub get by the front. Looks like they did, but they really worked it hard. Get
What a
second shot.
shot.
Sweepers earned that one. Watch this one. Great close-up look here. We're getting a good look, courtesy of our cameras, and that one actually had a little bit more room than I thought.
I agree, yeah, they had another inch to play with, so they could have got off maybe a little bit sooner, but honestly, that is such a tough shot, such a precision shot. So great job by the brushers.
As they catch their breath, we'll see this one come down from Hasselborg. Played the yellow-red double run.
Yeah, yellow, red, yellow onto red, red onto yellow. Ideally. If she happens to open up this side, that's okay too.
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Nay. Whoa. Nay. Whoa. Nay, nay, nay. Nada. Nay, 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 nay. Okay, Anna.
Makes a double peel. Probably the way you wanted to miss it.
I think so. It does open up that side, but the only thing it does though for Japan is there's still a pocket there. So if Japan puts one right there where her broom is, I'm not sure if there's room for Team Sweden to actually move it.
もし曲がってきちゃったらここだな。オッケー。
But there's risk also in playing this too if you don't put it in the right spot.
ちょっと今
ウェイトはちょっと抑えるよね、今のよりね。ちょっとずつ滑ってきた感じはある。
そうだね。リリースそうだった？
リリースよかった。
よかった。
ちょうどいい。ちょっとする。
ちょっとだけ
ちょっとだけ行
滑っちゃうな
ってみる？オッケー。でスイープでちょっと持ってきて。
どこに置くの？
黄色の前。
黄色の前。
でちょっとポツッとなってもオッケー。
あ、間みたいな。
こっち。
オッケー。
だんだん滑ってきてる感じあるよね。
こんな感じはするね。
Decision where to put the broom, and Yoshimura, believe they're trying to come right into that pocket.
They definitely are. They don't have any guards really to navigate now, but both those rocks out front are gone. So it looks like maybe she's taken an inch or two more ice because of that reason, and ideally, I don't think she wants to move anything there. Like if she moves any of those red stones or even her yellow stone, she'll open up some space, and that could give Sweden an out. So ideally, we'd love to be right in the pocket, but most importantly, wants to get to center line here for sure.
Don't want to hang out and leave any sort of hit. Now, do those angles line up to blast all the yellows?
I think they do. I think that's the only spot you really couldn't put it, Luke. If you pretty much nose that yellow one, I think they both go, and the red will spill onto the other yellow that's in the back four. Pretty sure it's lined up. Nose are just a little on center line side, and I think all three yellows will go. This is a chance for three here for Team Sweden. I'm not sure why Japan took that extra ice like it did. It looked like she took maybe even a good 2 or 3 inches more ice.
Yeah, and they could have afforded to stay right there because even a hair less and have it overcurl would have been better than.
I would agree. Corner freeze in that other red one would have been better than, unfortunately, where this rock ended up.
So a chance. Make these ones disappear. Nose hit for Hasselborg. Potentially 3 on the board in this one.
Got to hit it on center line side.
Well, just a clean. And look at that. No problem. 3 in the forefoot, all on the board for Sweden. They double their score total with just 1 shot right there. Watch this one, and knowing the angle is important. Makes those yellows out of it go away. And 3 for Sweden. And now a 6-3 lead with 3 ends remaining.
What does our clock say there, Sarah? 1852?
1852.
見たalla. Den pauser.
だったら逆にこうの方がいいのか。ずれてたらこうの方がいいのか。ヒトロールしやすいよね。
でもあと高さにもよるよね。
We're gonna have a shot, but if she planted it perfect, but if she moved anything an inch, she would have it would spin around. It might only be for 2, but yeah, it's a good call on the peel.
Jag bara, nu har jag tyglar här, Anna bara, vi skjuter allt, vi bara, jag bara, vi kan tappa på.
And like a lot of rocks in play, and still only took 3 minutes.
Hon har gått och blivit crazy. Kom igen nu.
Nej, jag fastnar på byxorna. Åh, fy fan vilket då. Jag fastnar.
Pinsamt.
Det var lite pinsamt.
Well, look above Sheet D, where we are at for the LGT World Women's Curling Championship. We made it to end number 8. of our feature game, Sweden, Japan. Sweden getting the big shot so far. Their second multiple score. This time it was 3. Triple made by Anna Hasselborg as Japan put theirs in the worst spot that lined it up. Luke Coley here along with Melissa Saligo. Final round robin game, and Sweden, they talked in the break there about their clock and the speed of play. So it's maybe something they're working for just to keep pace along with it. It's something to build towards the playoffs.
Yeah, and you heard Coach Wayne say that, you know, there was lots of rocks in play that end, and it only took 3 minutes. So it is obviously there's something that they've been concerned about, something they've talked about, and something that they're paying attention to going into the playoffs.
Well, we're here in the 8th end. We'll see the numbers. Yumie Funayama, 86% above that of Mabergs, who a bit lower than where she's been throughout the week at 80%.
Can we go back to that shot of Japan's for a minute? You know, we just expected to, you know, we expected her to make that, right? She just put it in the worst possible spot, unfortunately, for Team Japan, and Sweden makes no mistake.
Well, keeping a close eye, Switzerland, Estonia, and all red in the rings for Switzerland, our top seed into the playoffs. Marie Turnman trying to find a way to get one.
Looks like she can maybe come to that red stone on the left hand and the back forefoot. Not an easy shot.
Well, Estonia this week did get their first World Championship win. We'll get one here. And now they're playing Switzerland, who lead 6-5. Switzerland also got a first this week. First ever 8-ender at a World Women's Curling Championship, as they put 8 on the board earlier this week.
That was incredible. So Team Japan tried to throw the double guard, I believe, on the left-hand side, but kind of staggered their guards. Team Sweden, with that 3-point lead, really doesn't need any points and doesn't need any guards, so they're bringing everything into the rings, keep the play in the house.
They don't line them up. There's probably want those a little more lined up than where they are. If we're being picky.
If we're being picky.
Well, Scotland, China, 4-3. Scotland leading, have the hammer, but they're facing 4. Similar to what we saw Estonia facing. Even your head got to get to the inside.
I think so. I'm not sure if the nose will quite give her the single point, but she's throwing a little more weight probably than Estonia did. They threw the draw, so for E. Muirhead, hit and try and roll towards the center line for a single point.
Well, they can't touch the top, and will get the hit to sit in the forefoot. And that one will hang around just. This is all the room she had to work with. Scotland gets their 1, 5-3. They lead China. The nose hit, so now Sweden lying 4. Japan wants to talk about how they're going to go about this. They need to try and score 2 in this 8th end at least.
まだ割られたくないって感じ。いつかは割られるよね。もしここに入ったらね。いつまでのと下げるか。
ここだとね、これ次下げるときに邪魔になっちゃうんだよね。一回下げてからの方がいい気がするんだよね。
確かに。
行くなら。
あれ来た？
どこいじる？そう今 JD と話したんだけど、ここ切るときに今ここにあるのは邪魔くさいよねっていう話。
切れない。
この今のタイミングでサイドに入れるのもありだね。だけどちょっと手前に3つあるのは厳しいな。
どうする？
じゃあどうし誰？
他タップか。
その真ん中の赤を押しながら開けたりしないか。
それはできるね。
これ？
あ、そっち。
こっちは。
そっちバック8とかまで押しながら。
バック8残っちゃうけどいいの？こっちに残るけどいいの？
こっち。あ、残ってもいいんじゃない？開ければ。
あ、これも開くとか。
しっかり上立ってもいいよね。それだったら。
バックライン。
ハックとかじゃダメなの？バックライン遅い。
バックラインじゃちょっと遅いわ。
ハックぐらい？
シューターしっかりこっち。
これも下げたいもんね。でこれもこっち来たのね。
ハックとかあっていいかい？
私ボードぐらいあっていいと思うんだけど。
いいと思うよ。シューター大事にだね。
ボードぐらいあっても大丈夫。ボード？
これはしっかり動かすんだったらボードぐらいあってもいいと思う。ハックだと多分勢いないと思う。どうだろう。
大事だ。10半？
So obviously those red ones there, you want to move them, but you also want to use them too.
That's right. So you don't want to throw hit weight here, obviously. You want to move the red stones around. It's unfortunate for Team Japan right now. They've got staggered guards on the one side, and they'd love to be able to draw around there and put one buried. I'm not sure what kind of weight she's throwing here.
Maybe hitting the one and trying to roll the corner on it.
Yeah, I really don't think you want to throw very much weight. No, it doesn't look like she is. Just enough to move, try and move things around a bit. You want to use those rocks to your advantage.
Well, Anna Omiya try and keep the shooter around. Make the hit, doesn't make the roll though.
Yeah, I just don't think that that's the right call. You're down 3 points, you have to get 2. Hit and roll is so precise. You want to use those rocks, even if you were to tap that maybe 2 feet, not even 2 feet. At least it gives Sweden something to jam on, or jam possibilities. So I don't think that was the right call. That's a hard shot, the hit and roll. This one's really curling.
Got off the center line. Can they hold it? They do. They make the roll out the other side. But after that exchange, now it opens up the corner. Well, a mass of stones, Czech Republic and Denmark. 3-3. Anna Kubeshkova has the hammer in this 8th end.
I think this might be a draw for 2. It looked like that red one potentially is shot rock. Yeah,
it looks like a small port to get in.
Yeah, I think if she gets a piece of the button, she might get 2 here.
Oh, and look at this draw. Through all of that.
She does.
Gets 2, so a 5-3 lead for the Czech Republic after 8. So if that score stays the same, and the lead for Scotland in that means Sweden would play USA and Denmark would play Canada, as Sweden has called the timeout themselves.
Alltså kan ju gå på den och vicka in.
Man har så.
Eller bara klippa den.
Vi har ju spelat många här, så den här känns det som att vi har liksom.
Ja, men jag menar, garden kan man stjäla på.
Ja, men garden kanske den som ligger topp 4 då i sådana.
The guard?
It's not bad. I didn't mind the same shot.
No?
Just because only because you just threw it. Just pick it, roll out.
Yeah,
play
but then go around again. Then I guard, but they need to hit something.
Yeah.
But If we guard, we can steal.
We can. The only fear is if they can ever hack weight, hit, and roll another one in.
Yeah.
So,
You have
but
a catcher right there too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
but
You know where I'm going at.
if, yeah, I want to go to the bar too. So you know what?
Exactly what we meant.
Okay, let's make this.
Then I'm not like I don't mind as long as you guard this half. How's that? Center line guard this half of the top one.
This, so
This-
they can't go there.
So they can't go there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
The only thing they can go there then, but okay, let's make this.
Yeah. And maybe guard on yours.
yeah.
They won't give us the guard.
Yeah.
Du
tyckte jag hade lite
if they
kraft
go
inåt.
around again, I
Så
mean.
bara lite...
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Så, Anna, vilken fart!
Jag lirade en 11-6 här, den var ju nice.
Ja.
Well, Wayne adding a little bit of humor as well into it, is discussing it has been a long round robin. This is game number 13. They know they're playing again in the morning.
Alltså det kommer inte vara så kraftigt kall som din förra sten.
For all that, they decide to chase after that one.
They did. I mean, you can't see a lot, like maybe an inch.
Vicka av är helt okej.
So they're going to try and pick it.
And Wayne, as you sometimes do, you don't want to be walking during the delivery, so he waits for the delivery, and we'll get a different view from between the sheets, spot he's normally used to in his playing days. Really trying to get this one by, and they'll touch the guard
Bra fart!
and slide through.
Bra fart! 11-2.
So we compare thirds. Sarah McManus 79 to 70%. Kaho Onodera.
It's hard to believe Sarah's at 79 with some of the fantastic shots she's made.
だけど、
あんまりこっち来たくないよね。
そうなんでね、これ抜くのいいね。
うん。
か、これでロールするか。
うん。
これどれぐらい？
両方ある。
半分。半分か。そこは見えてる。これどうだろう？
ヒットロールかタップか。いいと思う。
ヒットロール。いいよ。イェイ。
Well, looking next door as well is Alina Petz in her final stone. Looks like facing one, and just outside the back of the forefoot. Actually, pardon me, as a hit.
And I think she has a chance for two here if she can get to the nose of that.
Yeah, brooms in the air, so shot made.
生きてるこっちがいい。下に行きたい。
Two for Switzerland.
うん。
So it is two, and that will make it an 8-5 game. Switzerland leading after 8 ends of play. As they've really rejigged their lineup. They bring Carol Hovald in at playing third. Esther Neuenschwander is holding the broom, and Alina's calling the game. Well, trying to get another one behind. Oh, and look at that lucky touch of that stone. Because it looked like it might go out if it doesn't touch that one.
It did. You see the weight she's got on this. Like, so important to save your shooter. And you're right, Luke. If that doesn't touch the back half of that other yellow stone, I think it rolls too far.
Skulle jaga en i taget.
Ja, eller frysa i så fall om vi ska.
Alltså till och med om vi är...
Här så är det.
Ends up being just a terrific shot by Team Japan.
Gillar du det?
Ja, jag var nog inne på den där.
Ja, jag håller med.
Just like that, out of skip stones now. The three is on.
It is, you know, and I go back to the timeout called by Team Sweden, and I completely understand Wayne Madaw's thought process there. They just played the shot. You could see less of it, but they wanted to play it again. However, you heard Anna say if we put the guard up, we have a potential of steal. So where Japan was chasing Sweden at one point, you can see how the roles have been reversed now, simply because that miss by Team Sweden and a great shot by Team Japan. So this is a huge shot for Anna Hasselberg. She doesn't have a lot of room to work with.
Järnet, Janna!
Håll i det!
Känns helt okej fart nu!
Vart är vi?
Känns helt okej.
Mamma!
Nej!
Nej! Nej! Nej! Nej!
Wow.
Nej! 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 Nej!
Oh, Oh, this is so close to being perfect.
Jag hörde ingenting om att vi var.
It comes down. Think enough. It's close.
Vi pratar med varandra. Men tack.
何やる？アシストツース。
It looks like 1-2 right now for Sweden.
これぐらいに当てて。これも。
I don't think you could have walked down and put that rocket in any better place, to be honest. That was absolutely brilliant.
それ決まったらすごい最高だね。やってみる？それもありだと思う。だいぶあるね。見るか。
一枚ちょっとかぶってるぐらい。オッケー。赤は。
Lining up this run.
Yellow, yellow, red run.
3分の2。
And when you are playing a shot like this, you know how good your opposition's stone result was.
まっすぐ。この辺かな。もうちょっと曲がるかもしれない。曲がりあるから。久々ではある。
And they're playing this one because it's easier to try and keep the one you're raising in the house as well.
Exactly. So if you play the one that's closest, like in the other one in front of it, it's really hard on the angle to stick it. This one, just because of the straight, like really, you keep the straight line, it's easier to stick it in the rings.
You'll see a 10% difference in skip position. Hasselberg, Yoshimura. But make one right now, and all of a sudden, this could really change things. Right now, Sweden leading by 3. Oh, and it will over curl. They'll catch the back one, but it is 5th shot in the rings. Just over curled for Sayaka. They were trying to get this on the board side, so the left your picture to try and run it in.
Alltså det finns ingen tvåa nu. Hur tar de två?
Nej, den där är bättre.
Den är bättre.
Ja, alltså vi bara gaddar dragspåret någonstans.
Dra.
Ja. Jag vet inte
Så
vilka...
ligga lite här då.
Ja, fast man kommer inte dra outen när allt det där ligger där, eller?
Det är ingen fara.
Då kommer hon ju slå.
Då går vi slå, ja.
Bara ligga i vägen någonstans. Ja.
Blocka draget.
Team Sweden's just trying to determine where the best spot for this rock is, and honestly, Luke, right now, the way it stands, if they don't throw it, the most that Japan can get is 1. There's no way that they can get more than 1, simply because Sweden is lying 1st and 2nd, and there's no double or anything.
Coming in, can't set up any triple or anything because of the angle on that one.
Yeah, that first shot by Anna Hasselberg is in such a perfect position. I don't really think it's going anywhere.
Vi kan bara hålla igång den lite. Ja, den är lite kort. Ja, den kallar
Vi kan dra den nästan så drar jag
Jag tycker det kan stanna
I mean, you'd
där.
love to put this,
Bara stanna
you know,
där.
second, third shot to make it more difficult, but I don't think that does you any harm. This is only going to be a draw for 1. I don't think there's anything else there.
Så det blir precis samma läge som när du frös på förra. Man bara...
That was which path do you want to get Japan into playing, and it looks like probably over curling. It's this side.
15.3 だったね。Okej. もうちょっと取ろうかな。どうも。相手 15.3。15.3 で3か。3ちょい
Now, this has a little bit more room just by the look of it in that, when you see that view. So it needs a piece of the forefoot.
It was such a promising end until Hasselberg made a great shot, and that's why she's an Olympic champion.
Yeah, that really was a perfect shot.
So the final stone of this 8th end, need the forefoot for Japan.
いいよいいよ。ラック。はい
Omiya Onodera staying close with this one as they need the forefoot. And do better than that, right to the LGT logo to get the single point in 8. But now trail by 2, and they give the hammer back to Sweden with 2 ends remaining. 6-4. A lot of smiles for Sweden and a very relaxed Sweden team, a little different than what we're used to seeing. For them, sometimes a little more stoic throughout round robin, and obviously they can't improve their position or lower their position. Heading into the playoffs tomorrow, they will be the number 3 seed. Japan trailing by 2. I'm sure we'll see the 2 centerline guards, and Sofia Mabergs go around the center with her first stone.
Stenhård ut.
Ja. 12-9. Kan det stämma? Ja, jag hade 12-8. Sitter ju ändå kanske bak 12. Ja, det gör den. Det gör vi som...
That one goes deep. Sofia normally pretty good draw weight. That one deeper, and she struggled a little bit with draw weight in this game.
And we have seen her numbers maybe a little bit lower than we were expecting for her. She's had such a great tournament, and so she won't get full marks for that one.
Well, Yumiya Funayama try and get these 2 centers up. Try to get separation. It's not really the ideal spot, unfortunately.
No, he really wanted those rocks as far apart as possible. When you're ever throwing a double guard, you want one close to the rings and one maybe just over the hog line in a perfect line.
So first 2 in.
I think in some circumstances we would have seen Sweden step up and try and, you know, tick or split one of those yellow guards, but because they're so close, you actually, if you hit it wrong, you could push a yellow one closer to the rings or even on the ring. So kind of the best offense sometimes is so the offense is sometimes the best defense by putting both of those first ones in the rings, especially since that first one went behind the tee line.
We'll look in at Scotland and China. And it is China with those two in the back of the 12-foot. Muirhead missed a double with her last. Chance to take the lead for China.
What a huge opportunity for China here. Drawing for 3 in the 8th end against Team Scotland.
Just guiding this one in front end. Gets that right in as China, and using those bright and distinct pink brooms, guides that one right into the house. And they'll take a 6-5 lead over Scotland. Important for that team of China really to build, because they're playing for a spot. It's not a team, they're playing to get a spot on that team into the Olympic Winter Games next year. And Han Yu's definitely turned some heads, the Pacific champion in 2019. She's looking really strong to possibly be that person, to be the skip of the team next year at the Olympic Winter Games.
I commentated on their game this morning against Canada, and just such a young team, but very impressive. Like they make a ton of shots, just a few little strategy errors that they just need to work out, but really a good team.
So the double peel, the single peel of that one leaves that center line open. I know Agnes is pretty comfortable back there, but Johanna Heldin's played a very good game.
She really has, and it's funny when you look at the back there, you see all 3 members of Team Sweden there. Agnes, coach, and Anna, they're all looking across the sheets to see what's going on. Again, we don't know who's playing who yet, based on the outcome of this draw.
So the guard over curls, so it leaves a bit open. And the way things stand right now, Sweden would be playing Denmark in the qualifying game tomorrow, with both Denmark losing and Scotland losing on the scoreboards. And that would mean a North American affair, Canada, USA, as the other qualifying game. On the cat and mouse game, who's going to make that move first? The guard goes up. Sweden ready to peel.
Yeah, pretty straightforward strategy, game plan, end plan here for Team Sweden. They have one sitting right on the button right now. So they're just happy, and they would be really okay to give up a single here, and if it happened to be a steal, because they do have hammer, and then they would be up 1 with hammer in the last end.
Well, Czech Republic, Denmark, we saw Wayne Mada and Agnes Knockenhauer looking. They're looking at the house of what's going on right here. Of course, this game impacts who Sweden will play tomorrow. Madeline Dupont.
And
Chance at 3?
I'm not sure. Denmark is definitely sitting 1.
They're lying 2. 1 in the back of the forefoot and back button.
Okay, so this is a piece of the button for maybe 3.
Had to wait on the line. Can they drag it to the forefoot? Very close. I think it did get far enough. Maybe not.
I heard the number 2, yep.
So it is just 2 after all that's mess of stones. And they are all tied up 5-5 after 9 ends of play. Czech Republic has the hammer in that 10th end.
What a battle over there. So we are in the same position we were when we went to that update. Another guard being thrown here. They'll throw one more guard if it's peeled. They'll have to make a play. They'll have to make a tap on their next one. I thought they were playing the guard. That's actually a pretty good shot, Luke. I'm not sure. They'll lose 1 red.
Är det jättedumt att ta den mittersta?
Nej, det enda är att du får dem tappa en ball väldigt lätt. Bara
I'm not sure you can get rid of both yellow stones.
klippa den övre.
Here's a good look at it.
Ja, exakt.
It's not bad. What if you just peel the top one for Sweden?
Hade du nästan kan?
Nej, jag hade mer.
Japan would obviously want to try and lie too. If you peel the top one, you may have a double to try and score 2.
Lite till. Vi vill inte röra den nere ju.
So Anna Hasselborg has thrown some heat here, trying to move things around.
Gets rid of the top ones, so forces play onto those.
ラインナップさせて押す感じか。ラインナップだね。うん。ここまでラインだね。うん。ここまでだね。ウェイトは2つあるからどうだろう。9、8、9？そうだね。この辺のことだね。今ここだもんね。そう。そうだね。そっち側だもんね。そうこっち側。結構狭めた。
Well, that different dynamic for this Japanese team with Yumiya Funayama as the lead, but she's also the vice skip. So there's always a lot of discussion. Onodera as well, as she goes down to clean the ice. That path that's going to be thrown. Probably want to move this far enough to lie 2.
I think so. They looked at it, and you know, you look at the scoreboard, it's 6-4. Stealing 1 here would mean you have to steal 10, steal 11. So I think if you take the chance of trying to move that red stone back, you'd almost have to move it back probably 2 rock widths in order to be sitting 2 at the end of the shot. It's all about the angle, though. You have to be really careful about the angle, because if Team Sweden takes a go at it, you want to hopefully it's lined up to jam on their back one. It's a nice soft tap here. This definitely has the weight to move that red stone back. Trying to get it to curl.
Get the right line, tap it back. They move it, they lie 1 top of the button.
Oh, that moves back another 4 inches in their line 2, but really great shot there by Team Japan.
But the angles, can't play the double, it could jam. Can't see a lot of that one. It looks like they're trying to pick.
I think they are. As you say, Luke, they definitely can't play the double.
Not a lot of that stone showing. And that's a close-up look, not what the Hasselborg will see in the hack.
This is a tough shot. You can't see very much. Trying to pick it clean and get that red one that's sitting back 4 to count.
So final stone of this 9th end. 6-4, Sweden leading.
I think it's on the top one.
Well, will they be able to spill it out? They actually catch the top one, and it's a steal of 1. So Japan gets 1 closer with that steal. Great tap. Almost even better with the tap further. They do steal 1, trail 6-5 after 9 ends.
1本目と2本目同じライン使う場合気をつけたらいい。2本目まっすぐになっちゃうから。
2本目までかながダメ。1本目は時間が2本目ちょっと緩やかになるか。
気をつけないと。
幅は同じでいいかな。ちょっと狭めた方がいい。
発音は変わってないか。
ちょっと話して狭めたらいいんでか。
2人とも
あとテイクの時も関係あるな。
良さそうだね。1から。
It is N10, the LGT World Women's Curling Championship 2021. Luke Kohler here alongside Melissa Saligo as we have Japan down 6-5 to Sweden. As we finish off round robin play this evening, heading into a weekend filled with sudden death playoff games. It's always nice to be on this side, the commentary side, where we don't have to play in those, but we get to enjoy the stress that those players will have to endure. But a good opportunity for Sweden now in this game that doesn't affect the standings. You get to play a game where you're 1-up with the hammer. You get to play these tick shots.
That's exactly right, and we didn't see this before. We saw Sweden actually play into the rings. But with this rock being a little bit higher, great opportunity here for Sophia to make this shot, and does absolutely perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, gets those well out to the side so it doesn't impact the draw paths as much.
Yeah, that is a great shot.
So we're down to the late stages of all these games. Yumiya Funayama. And always exciting to see. We're in the last round robin session. Sometimes you get some blowouts. Every game is still going here in the 10th end, which is just fabulous. It shows the parity, and obviously with the standings that we have, it shows that also.
Oh, it's awesome. It's just awesome seeing everyone battling to the last minute out there.
See, another attempt at this tick shot.
This is another reason you potentially keep your leads in when you do have this break, so they have these opportunities.
And there's the missed tick shot. There's all the scores. Czech Republic, Denmark, 5-5 in the 10th end. Scotland, China, 6-6 in the 10th end. It is China with the hammer in that one, and Czech Republic with the hammer. Switzerland leading 9-5, Estonia with the hammer in the 10th end, and Sweden up 6-5 in our feature game with the hammer in the 10th end.
Looking for the second guard, trying to get this as close to the rings as possible. Again, trying to separate them.
They are lined up, so they have two centers.
think they're looking for just the single peel.
Joanna Haldin looking to get that top one. Doesn't touch those other ones, so just the single. Again, if there is a Denmark win over Czech Republic, if they steal against the Czech Republic, that means Sweden will play against Canada tomorrow in the qualifying game. If they lose, then it depends on what Scotland does, and it could be Denmark or the USA who they play.
It's a lot harder for Team Japan to put up this second guard now, simply because that rock is pretty much in the middle. So it's really hard to get one way or the other, so they were trying to come around, and unfortunately just a little light and ticks off.
Yeah, not where you want to go for Anna Omiya. Do all that work and get that one there. You miss one guard and a chance they can go away. This time they want both of those guards to go away. Well, and only gets the one. They actually still leave the center, so a bit of a break for Japan.
Team Japan likely throwing another center guard here. Don't really need to make their move into the rings until very late in the end.
So trade this, at what point, Melissa, does Japan have to think, okay, we want to come in? Because you probably want to try and lie too.
I think they would be happy just based on that first tick, even if they were ever to be able to lie one. But that rock, that guard that was just thrown, it isn't quite lined up. So there is a very, very small possibility here for the double peel. It looks like it's just going to be the single. But again, look, I don't think they need to come in yet. They can wait another couple of rocks. I think the sooner you make the play into the rings, the happier that Sweden would be.
Well, and you hear it, that is a final, the first one here in this session. It is Switzerland continues to roll. They win game number 12, 12-1, as they beat Estonia, who finished 1-12, but a very good first appearance at a World Championship for Marie Turnman and Estonia. So good thing for the growth of the game, the growth of curling in Estonia. They're here and they finish 1-12. The only team to beat Switzerland is in our game here tonight, as it's a 9-5 final. That was Sweden. So Switzerland will have the morning off. They know they're into a semi-final tomorrow and will face the lowest seed remaining.
So skip stones.
の辺だな。
ちょっとガードよりは取ってるよ、幅。オッケー。
Looks like they've indicated for this one to be kind of top 4 or full 4 loop, but it actually, if it goes a little deeper, that's probably not the end of the world. The last thing you want to do is keep this too close to that other Yellowstone that's just outside the rings. You don't want to leave Anna Hasselberg a easy double.
3ちょいでも大丈夫な方？3ちょい。どっちより？どっちよりだ？ちょい側？ちょい側？うん。3で。OK。
So important placement of this one behind that guard for Japan. Sayaka Yoshimura. Well, it doesn't get as far in as they had wanted. They wanted it much deeper in the rings.
They did. They swept that from the get-go, and unfortunately just makes top 12. So fairly straightforward double here for Anna Hasselberg.
Lite mer än sten.
Ja.
Ser du det?
Ja. Ja.
Well, make both these go away, trying to finish off, obviously, round robin. Sweden 9 and 3 can finish another double-digit win total. Try to peel it across the top. And Hasselborg will make them both go away. Meaning wide open rings. They will have an open draw or an open hit for the win. Well, they battled throughout this game, the 2 in the 4th end, the 3 in the 7th end. 2 big scores in the game, really. A 1-point lead, that's the difference. They're going to try and tuck this one behind, force Hasselborg to draw for 1.
That's the best they can do right now, is just try and get a piece behind that Yellowstone, but it's got a lot of curling to do. It's actually got to put the brakes on as well.
Comes down back, 12-foot. Didn't even give the hit or the draw to it a consideration.
Well, for Team Sweden, just a straight draw. Just has to hit 8-foot for the single point and the win.
They know they are the 3 seed. This to win game number 10. So draw for the win for Sweden and Anna Hasselborg. We've seen 14-5 That one a little bit quicker speed, but doesn't matter. Goes right down and good enough for the win.
Well done.
Sweden will head to the playoffs on a winning note, while Japan will finish with a 5-8 record. Sweden, win number 10. They hope they can get to win 13, and that would be a world championship for them. The one title that has eluded this team. Reigning Olympic champions, two-time world silver medalist. So keeping you up to date the other games, the final stone, Denmark against Czech Republic, an angle raise. This will help determine who Sweden will play in that qualifying game. Anna Kubeshkova will be quite the way to finish a world championship. Has to come up a little bit. And just over the top.
Thank you.
And it is a steal of one, and Denmark wins, so that means they are the 4 seed with the 6-5 win over Czech Republic. Sweden knows they will play Canada tomorrow in the qualifying game. Denmark will play USA. So one game left to go. Scotland against China.
Good. Okay.
So we're down. That was the last stone by Eve Muirhead, who lies 2. Side of the 4-foot, Han Yu. Draw the 4-foot for the win. Taking on the former world champion, Eve Muirhead, won in 2013. It'll be the third straight year, third straight world championship. Scotland will fail to make the playoffs. Han Yu, the youngster, trying to improve the record, finish at 6-7. Looking to build on this year, heading to the Olympic Winter Games next year. As the host nation, as this shot will end round robin play at this year's World Championship. Got to get this to the 4-foot, takes the curl, drag it all the way and get the win. Look at that. The youngster comes through, picks up a win against Scotland. So Scotland will finish 6-7. China will finish 6-7 as round robin wraps up the Winsport Arena. All 4 games finishing in a flurry here. 7-6. China winning that one over Scotland, and hugs with their national coach, Pia Lindholm.
Kul, Anna fick stå på en sista scen också. Härligt.
Lira med dig. Så kul att lira med.
Well, our feature game, Sweden winning 7-5. Anna Hasselborg and Sweden winning on their way into the playoffs starting tomorrow. 7th end of this one. And just Japan put it in the wrong spot, left the opening, and the angles lined up in Sweden's favor. Chance to make this triple for 3 and break the game open. And the Olympic champ, Anna Hasselborg, won't miss many of these. Had it set up, but a little miscue. And Sweden takes full advantage to score 3. Eighth end and trying to answer back. Couldn't generate any offense. Missed an angle raise on her first. Yoshimura. And now forced to draw. 4-foot. Facing 2 to pick up the single point. This Japanese team hanging tight throughout the game. Able to draw right through the port, right into the 4-foot, and pick up the single point as they actually go better than that to the button. Ninth end in there. Japan able to put some pressure on Sweden. Don't quite move it far enough to lie 2. And Sweden playing this one tight. Pick the one on the button for 1, or get the one in the top 4-foot and give up the steal of 1 with a 2-point lead. They get the top one, give up 1, to have that 1-point lead. Heading to the 10th, the draw, and a victory for Sweden in that 10th end. So Sweden is into the playoff picture. And this is how session 7 wrapped up. Obviously it was going to be Sunday morning. It's now Friday night. Czech Republic loses to Denmark 6-5. China beats Scotland 7-6. Switzerland, just one loss. They win that one, going 12-1, 9-5 winners over Estonia. Sweden, 7-5 victors in our feature game over Japan. So the playoffs, this is how it is. 6 teams in. Switzerland and RCF are the top 2 seeds. Then Sweden is number 3 with a 10-3 record. Denmark finishes just behind 8-5. Then USA and Canada win that 3-way tiebreaker. Korea also included, but they miss out. So that's how it sits. This is the playoff stage. 3 versus 6 tomorrow will be Sweden against Canada. Denmark plays the United States. And then Switzerland and RCF, they wait. The 2 winners of those qualification games as they reseed. So Switzerland gets the lower seed in the semifinals. Sweden, now in the qualification game, will play Canada.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations, Anna. You guys looked very relaxed out there. What was your main goal going into that game?
To have fun out there with our alternate and not to waste any energy. We have a quick reload for tomorrow's game against Canada, so just go out there, get a good feeling of the ice, and just relax and waste no energy.
That's fantastic. So you got a big game tomorrow. How are you preparing for that game now?
Food and sleep.
That's perfect. Good luck. I wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Well, time to get some food and then sleep. They'll be on again in the morning. For Melissa Saligo, myself, Luke Culler, our entire crew. Thanks for watching. We got playoffs tomorrow from the LGT World Women's Curling Championship.
Kul, Anna.